Have you ever sat around and wondered, maybe after seeing me in my 116 hoodie or something like that, and you think, man, I wonder how to be cool. I need to look up some kind of way where I can be cooler. Or maybe, some of you middle school or high school boys out there, you're sitting around thinking, maybe you hear a video of yourself and you think, man, how do I get a deeper voice? How do I sound like James Earl Jones? I want the Darth Vader voice. How do I do this? Or maybe, I don't exactly know who would look this up, but it's apparently a popular topic. Thought, I wonder if there's a way I can dye my hair with Kool-Aid. These are all these deep philosophical questions that shake us to our core. And we wonder, how can we do these things? Well, these are all actual WikiHow entries that I have looked up. WikiHow, it's a website that you look up. I think it's run by Wikipedia, I'm assuming at least. And, it's all these how-to-do processes, and you can find almost anything there. When I was in middle school, I can remember I used to look up, how to survive the zombie apocalypse. The things that probably aren't going to happen, but, just in case it does happen, you need a little bit of information, make sure you're going to do okay. Those are always so fascinating, right? We're always wondering how to do this better. Am I doing this the wrong way? Well, today I was looking through this passage in the Sermon on the Mount, and I realized that this is kind of Jesus's quick how-to wiki video, that he has for his followers. So the Sermon on the Mount, we talked about this. We had gone through all of Matthew 5 earlier in the semester, and then of course we stopped having our services because of Corona, and so we're going to pick up some video devotions here. So it's Matthew 6 is where we're going to look at today. And it's Matthew 6, starting in verse 1. Jesus kind of gives his whole thesis for the argument. This is his main point for all what we're going to talk about today. He says, "Beware of practicing your righteousness before other people in order to be seen by them. For then you will have no reward from your Father who is in heaven." Then he goes on to list, practically, how does this work out? Verse 2. "Thus, when you give to the needy, sound no trumpet before you, as the hypocrites do in the synagogues and in the streets, that they may be praised by others. Truly I say to you, they have received their reward. But when you give to the needy, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving may be in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you. And when you pray, you must not be like the hypocrites, for they love to stand and pray in the synagogues and at the street corners, that they may be seen by others. Truly I say to you, they have received their reward. But when you pray, go into your room and shut the door and pray to your Father who is in secret, and your Father who sees in secret will reward you." Now let's skip over quickly to verse 16. Jesus says, "And when you fast," fasting is when you go without something, so typically it'd be food. You go without food and instead you spend that time reading your Bible and praying and spending time with God. So Jesus says, "When you fast, do not look gloomy like the hypocrites, for they disfigure their faces that their fasting may be seen by others. Truly, I say to you, they have received their reward. But when you fast, anoint your head and wash your face, so that your fasting may not be seen by others, but by your Father who is in secret. And your Father who sees in secret will reward you." Jesus is hitting again and again. Don't do these righteous acts so you can be seen by others. So, you can get a little boost in your ego or in your social standing so others will think you're a good person. That's not why you should be doing these things. In fact, do your good actions, do them in secret so that no one knows. And that way, since you're not getting any external reward from other people, the only reward that you'll get is God's reward, and you'll get it in fullness. You see, Jesus knows that people like to do good works, not because they love God or because they have right heart, but because they want others to notice them. They want others to think they're good. They want that moment in the spotlight where everyone's focused on them, and they think, oh man, he must be such a good person. Even Paul acknowledges that when he's writing, he says, I know that there's people who preach the gospel not because they love the gospel, but they do it out of their own pursuit, their own self-ambition, their own selfishness. They preach the gospel. And Jesus is saying the same thing here. People do these things not to please God, but to please others. And so he wants us to stay away from that completely. Now, when I say stay away from that completely, I don't mean that we become a closet Christian, right? We hide our faith. We don't let, when we're around people, oh man, we're not going to let them know at all, about our faith, because that wouldn't be right either. Jesus says in the chapter before, Matthew 5:16, Jesus says, you are the light of the world. A city on a hill cannot be hidden. In the same way, let your light shine before others, so that they may see your good works and give glory to your Father who is in heaven. Well, how can we reconcile then this? If we are to do our good works both in front of others, but also we're supposed to do our good works in secret, so that not even our left hand knows what our right hand is doing when we give to the needy. Jesus is calling us to be deeply authentic in our faith. That we are truly all for Christ. That we, everything that we have, we love Him with. That we don't just act right when we're in front of others so that they may see us and think that we're all good. But we also don't just act good when we're alone, because we don't want to deny Christ in front of others. We don't want to hide our light. Christ is saying, you need to be the same in secret and in front of others. And these are both important. You can't do one without the other. Christ needs you both to give in that secret, to show that, you're not just about what others think about you. Your main goal is to please God above all else. You want Him to be happy with what you're doing. So you need to give in secret and fast in secret and pray in secret. But you also need to do these things in public to show that you're not ashamed of Christ. To show that you're real about your faith, that when everyone else is doing what's wrong, you're willing to stand up for doing what's right. Jesus wants us to be authentic Christians. Right now, there's a lot of us, I can bet, spend most of their day alone. Right? I know I probably do. I spend a ton of time up in my office doing, reading or playing video games. I'm spending so much time in secret. I'm sure you are too. My question is, what are you doing with that time? When you're all alone, maybe it's the end of the day, or maybe it's the beginning of the day, or maybe even in the afternoon, everybody else has gone their separate ways, and it's just you and God. What do you use that time for? Are you using that time to pray and to fast and to read your Bible? I know many of you probably don't have jobs, so giving to the needy is difficult. But who are you in the secret times? Who are you when no one else is around? Think about that. I know we're spending a lot of time when no one else is around, probably. But now also think, when you go back to school, probably in the fall, or when you have clubs or activities or whatever happens, when those things happen and you're back in the public sphere, and you're around people again, how are you going to act? Are you going to be that same person in the secret? Are you going to let your light shine before others? Or are you going to hide your beliefs, hide your thoughts, hide your convictions? Christ is calling you to be an authentic Christ follower. That above all else, you want to please Him. You want to live according to Him. So that in the secret, you're willing to give, you're willing to pray, you're willing to spend time with Him. And in the public, you're willing to stand up to be a light for Him. Maybe this week, you should spend some extra time just kind of thinking about this and reading through Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, Matthew 5-7. And think, am I living as an authentic Christian?